Well, good morning, YouTube riders. Poppa-D here. Welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time to the channel, my name is Tim Marshburn, and this is Poppa-D Rides. It's a motorcycle channel, YouTube channel about motorcycle riding and all things motorcycle. And I'm trying to grow the channel, so if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe. If you like what you see here, give me a thumbs up. Share the channel with somebody and hit the notification bell so you can be aware whenever I put up more content. We're going to take a little ride through Uptown Charlotte. If you're not aware, I worked in this city for 30 years as a paramedic, and the first 7 years of that I worked right down here in the Uptown area of Charlotte. And really throughout my career, I spent a lot of time in this area. So I wanted to ride through there a little bit this morning. I'm actually on the way over to meet up with some other co-workers and former co-workers. We have a good friend of mine, Sam Barnes, who passed away recently. And we're going to go celebrate his life. Sam was a clinical educator here in Charlotte for a long time, a paramedic clinical educator. So he helped with our certifications and keeping everybody trained up, onboarding new employees and that kind of thing. And he had moved back to Ohio, and sadly he passed away a couple of weeks ago. And they had a private ceremony for his family, so we wanted to get together and celebrate his life, and that's where I'm headed now. So we're going to take a ride through Uptown Charlotte, and I'll show you guys some points of interest. And then I'm going to head on out and meet up with the guys and celebrate Sam's life. So I appreciate you guys riding along with me today. Like I said, welcome to the channel, and let's get this ride going. Everywhere I go right now, there are detours. This is the third or fourth one. I had a couple of detours before I turned on the camera, so I guess the ride's going to take me a little bit longer than I had planned on, but that's okay. I have nothing else to do today. I'm supposed to be over there about 1 o'clock, so I've got 19 minutes or so to mess around down here and get to the gathering, which isn't too far out of the Uptown area. Either way, you know, I can be, I guess, for lack of a better way of saying it, I can be fashionably late. Even though it says detour, the road looks open, so I'm not going to follow that detour sign. I'm going to go up here and see what they got going on, because I can at least see the next light, and from there I can get anywhere I need to go. So that big building in the center of town is called the Independence Center, the Nation's Bank Tower. Now it's called the Bank of America Tower. Obviously that's Bank of America. Truist has taken over the Hearst Tower, which is that building to the left that kind of looks like an up-down, or like a snow cone. And I'm going to ride right down there to the square and show you some stuff there in just a minute. After we go under the railroad bridge here, to the left will be the Greyhound station for Charlotte, but more, I guess, of interest is we're a couple of blocks from Bank of America Stadium, and we're right in front of BB&T Park. Well, now they're calling it Truist Field, which is where the Charlotte Knights play, and obviously Bank of America is where the Carolina Panthers play. So we're going to ride over by both of the ballparks. So the first ballpark is right there, Truist Field. Really, really nice ballpark. Gives you great views of the Uptown skyline while you're watching the game. I haven't been there for a baseball game in a couple of years. Bank of America Stadium is directly in front of us, so I'm going to circle around to that, and then we'll go through the Uptown area. That's cool to build a little terrace on top of that building for a restaurant. I haven't come down here to this area of town but probably 3 or 4 times since I retired. But the last couple of years I worked, I was here nearly every day. Our headquarters is just outside of town here, and I was assigned the airport, which is not too far from the Uptown area, so I would kind of hang out down here and out towards the airport so I could take care of my responsibilities. But there's a Starbucks at the bottom of the Duke Energy Center, which is that building right there in front of us. Kind of the wedge to the top there. And in the bottom of that is probably the busiest Starbucks in North Carolina. And I used to go there nearly every day when I was at work and get myself an espresso drink. Got to know the baristas really good, the manager really good. They took good care of me while I was here, and really enjoyed that Starbucks. And you get spoiled because that's where they sent a lot of people in the area to train because they were so efficient. And then you go to some of these other Starbucks and they're just not up to snuff the way that these guys and gals at this Starbucks down here were. And so I was kind of spoiled to the service that I got from those baristas. This building was under construction whenever I retired, so all of that is new. The Harvey B. Gantt Cultural Center is right there in front of us. They have it's an African American culture center. There's like a museum in there. Harvey Gantt was the mayor here in Charlotte. Actually, when I started working EMS. All these new buildings going up. This is the Mint Museum here to our left. And that's a performing arts center there, where that funky looking statue is at. It's the Levine Center of the Arts. And I think it's called the Belcher Center. I can't remember the name of that particular, yeah, the Belcher Museum and then Performing Arts Center is right there. So we are on Tryon Street in downtown or uptown Charlotte, and we're approaching the square in Charlotte, which is at the corner of Trade and Tryon. And the significance of that is, years ago, that was actually a trade route for the Native Americans. And so Charlotte was founded on a few things, and there are some statues at this next intersection I'll show you. And they represent our city's history and its future. So there are 4 statues. One is dedicated to the future of the city. And then the 3 pillars of Charlotte that have sustained it for years now are commerce. In 1849, there was actually a gold rush here in Charlotte, the first gold rush. That's why the local Charlotte football team was called the UNCC, University of North Carolina at Charlotte 49ers, because of the gold rush here in Charlotte. So that brought commerce here, and we're still a big commerce center, still a big banking center here in Charlotte. And then transportation is a major transportation route and trade route right here in Charlotte. Commerce, transportation, and then after that, industry are all the things of Charlotte. So I'm going to pull right here and let the camera run for a second and kind of show you. So to the left over here, that is Future. That's a statue for Future. Directly across the corner from me here is the one for Commerce. And as you see, it looks like an old prospector there. And I lied. This one over here with the baby is Future. This with the hammer and mallet in his hand is Transportation. This one over here is looking off into the distance, would be Industry. And then directly in front of me over there is the Prospector. Bank of America Tower. Yeah, Uptown Charlotte. And our uptown area is not that big. There's an entertainment district that is a block south of me, and it goes for about 4 blocks, 5 blocks. Big center there called the Epicenter. And you know, back before COVID, this was a hopping place, but COVID has hit a lot of that really severely, and so I don't know if that the epicenter is what it's called. It's a 3 or 4 story complex with shops and restaurants and bars and stuff in it. Kind of took over the entertainment, and then these bars down here have been here forever. The bar alley is about a block and a half that way, right along the light rail. And used to come down here on Friday, Saturday night when I was working, and basically sit there and people watch and wait for the calls to come in, because sure as anything, we were going to get called for a fight or a drunk passed out or an overdose or something. But this area was obviously hopping all the time, but especially on weekend nights, and then obviously when the ball games and things are going on, the Uptown area gets even busier. It's a discovery place. If you have some kids, it's a great place to bring the family. They always have all really nice exhibits in there. This is Spirit Square. It's an old theater in there as well. And I'm going to go ahead and turn. We'll go by Discovery Place Kids this way, and we'll go by the Spectrum Arena, where the Charlotte Hornets play. Woohoo! We brought the buzz back to Charlotte. So there's several museums in the downtown area. Here's the Museum of the New South. I've not been to that museum. I need to come over here and go to it sometime. But just behind that actually used to be some bars in there. But right here to my right, behind this Museum of the New South, is an alley, and that was the bar alley. There's several bars in there. They go all the way through, but we had a lot of calls in that little alley there. Nice Uptown Park they made here to the left when we go across the light rail. The light rail station to our right. And then this here to my right is Imaginon, and it's basically a discovery place for kids. Really, really cool place to bring your kids, smaller children, and check out. Wow, I've been rambling for a while now, haven't I, guys? One more thing to see here. It's Spectrum Arena, which is where the Charlotte Hornets play. And with that, I'm going to take my happy butt on down the road and go visit with my friends. Thanks for riding along this much, and I'll catch you when we get a little closer.
Make it through this thing. The reason why we're all gathered here is to celebrate a great guy, Sam Barnes. Life was taken too short from us a week ago. If you could look down and look at how many people's lives he has touched, he would be smiling. And again, I don't want to bring this down or anything. I want everybody to have a good Sam story. So we can all laugh just like he laughed with all of us. That big belly laugh that you would see every time when he really started going with his laugh. I love the man to death. He in 2011, when I had my stroke, he took care of my wife. Took care of my kids while I was in the hospital. For that, I will never forget him, and I will never forget him as the man that he is. May he rest in peace. Love you, buddy.
You're here.
Hold on. Why is that not surprising?
So when I was in FTO, Sam was assigned to training, and I had an employee who apparently was gay, a male employee who was gay, and I failed to realize this because I don't, I guess I just don't have that. It's called gaydar. I don't know. So I just didn't know. And it was right around the time that we had the Day of Atonement at Chick-fil-A, where if you supported Chick-fil-A, you would go there and people were lining up around the corners for Chick-fil-A. And so we ended up getting called out for a woman who had been standing in line, and she apparently got lightheaded, so they called us. So we ended up responding. And I could tell that my new employee was uncomfortable, but I wasn't sure why. Again, completely oblivious to anything. And so it ended up being a refusal. And with it all said and done, as a joke, I said, while we're here, why don't we get some Chick-fil-A? And apparently that was taken as an insult towards my new employee. So he complained to Sam, and complained to Melissa, who was the manager at the time, that I was homophobic, apparently. So I didn't know anything about this until about a month later. It wasn't really brought to my attention in real time. And my partner Julio apparently had heard something about it. He mentioned it to me, and I was trying to be more sensitive, not to say inappropriate things. It says Sam, for Christmas that year, got me a Chick-fil-A gift card. I appreciated it, and he was always there. He helped our son, my wife Sheila. Our son was struggling with some addiction, and Sam, as many of you know, was struggling with some of that same stuff. And he asked me to bring my son to work one day, and I brought him to work, and they spoke for hours on various things. And Sam was just one of those guys that he's like, if your son ever needs to talk, you need to talk, let me know. So he'll always have a special place in my heart. So cheers to Sam.
I just retired from Charlotte and worked at Carowinds for 20 years too. Some of you may recognize me from there, but kind of covered up in wintertime right now. But Sam, several years ago, we had a report of a cardiac arrest out on the main walk road there, Carowinds. And there was a lot of people out there, and as a supervisor with safety, Ed and I got there, and Sam just came up and said, do your thing. And so we went out and ended up reviving the guy, and when we got finished, Sam just looked at me and he's like, "Thought you would." And you know how he is. And I've always remembered that because he'd always just come up, pat me and look at me, and I knew exactly what he was talking about. He was a good man.
Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow. Today, well, something's gotta give. Today is a good day. Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow. Today, well, something's gotta give. Today is a good day. Today is a good day. Today is a good day to live.
Guys, we had a good celebration of life, a big turnout to celebrate my buddy Sam's life. He touched so many people. I wish he would have been able to be here to see all the lives that he actually did touch and hear the stories that people told about him today. So headed to the house. It's a little chilly outside. Let's see here. Currently it's 42 degrees. So I will try to get to the house before it gets too cold. But I tried to figure out how many years of EMS, Emergency Medical Services experience, were here at our gathering today. And I'm going to try to figure that out, and I'll try to include it, but I bet there was close to 500 years worth of experience sitting around, standing around the fire today. It was great to get together with some old friends and to be able to celebrate Sam's life and realize how many people that he actually touched through his time of being an EMS educator here in the Charlotte area. He was also an EMS educator up in Ohio. He also worked at Carowinds. Guys, it's been a great day of celebrating the life of my buddy Sam. You never realize how many lives one person touches. And everybody that I spoke with today had fond memories of Sam and how he had touched them in some way, be it as a field training officer, a supervisor whenever he was working down at Carowinds, an EMS instructor, and just a friend, you know, with his great laugh and all the things that he did to touch people. He was just a super guy, and I'm glad to have known him. The world was a better place with him in it. And I miss you, buddy. Whew. And with that, I want to say goodbye. Thank you for going along on the ride with me today. And I'll catch you guys on the next video.